They say you can't choose your family, but what they don't tell you is that sometimes your family chooses to destroy you. And when that happens, when the girl you raised like a daughter looks you in the eye and tries to steal everything you've built, you have two choices: lie down and let her win, or become someone she never saw coming. I'm not here to tell you I'm a saint. I'm here to tell you what happens when kindness becomes weakness, when loyalty becomes a weapon used against you, and when the person you loved most becomes the architect of your destruction. My name is Victoria Isaac. I'm 47 years old. I've been married for 23 years to the only man I've ever loved. And 6 months ago, my 24-year-old niece moved into my home with one goal: to take my husband, my peace, and my entire life. She almost succeeded. This is the story of how I trusted the wrong person, how I ignored every red flag because blood is supposed to be thicker than betrayal, how I lost everything in my own house while everyone watched and did nothing. This is also the story of how I stopped being the victim, how I learned that mercy without boundaries is just self-destruction in disguise, and how I took back everything she tried to steal, and then some. Let me take you back to 18 months ago, to the day my sister called me crying, begging me to save her daughter, to the moment I opened my door and invited a viper into my nest. I'm looking at the numbers right now, and it breaks my heart. 78% of you are watching this story of betrayal, nodding your heads, feeling my pain, and you're going to leave without hitting subscribe. Is that who we are? People who witness a woman being torn apart in her own home and just walk away. If you believe that your home should be your sanctuary, that trust should mean something, and that no one, family or not, should be allowed to destroy a marriage, then prove it. Subscribe right now and comment where you're watching from. Don't let my story be just another video you scroll past. Stand with me, because if this could happen to me, it could happen to you. 18 months ago, my phone rang at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday night. My sister Pamela was sobbing so hard I could barely understand her. Between gasps and broken words, I pieced together the story. Her daughter Jasmine, my niece, my goddaughter, the little girl I'd helped raise when Pamela was working 3 jobs, had been kicked out of her apartment. Some dispute with roommates. Some drama I didn't fully understand because Pamela kept interrupting herself with apologies and promises that it would only be temporary. "Victoria, please," she begged. "You're the only family we have, just until she gets back on her feet. A few weeks, maybe a month. You know how hard it is out there for young people. Please, sis. She's got nowhere else to go." I looked over at my husband, James, sleeping peacefully beside me. We'd built a good life. Our 3 children were all away at university. Our oldest, Michael, was in his final year of law school. Our daughter, Patricia, was studying engineering. Our youngest, Robert, was in his 2nd year of medicine. The house felt too quiet with them gone, too empty. Maybe having Jasmine around wouldn't be so bad. She could fill some of that silence. "Okay," I said. "She can stay with us." The relief in Pamela's voice made me feel like a hero, like the good sister, the good aunt. I had no idea. I just signed my own death warrant. Jasmine arrived 3 days later with 6 suitcases, 4 boxes, and a smile that should have warned me. Too bright, too grateful, too calculated. She was beautiful, I won't lie about that. 24 years old with smooth brown skin, long natural hair she wore in perfect curls, a body that looked like she lived in the gym, and a wardrobe that seemed expensive for someone who supposedly had nothing. But I pushed those thoughts away. I was being judgmental, critical, the kind of woman who tears down other women instead of lifting them up. "Auntie Victoria," she threw her arms around me, and I smelled her perfume, something French and expensive. "Thank you so much for this. I promise I won't be any trouble. I'm going to help around the house, cook, clean, whatever you need. You're literally saving my life right now." James helped her carry her things up to the guest room. I watched him smile at her jokes, laugh at her stories about her crazy roommates, and something in my stomach twisted. Not jealousy, not yet. Just awareness. The first week was perfect, too perfect. Jasmine woke up early, made breakfast for James and me, kept the house spotless, and spent her evenings applying for jobs on her laptop. She was respectful, grateful, helpful. "You've raised her well," James said one evening after Jasmine had cooked us a beautiful dinner. Jerk chicken, rice and peas, plantains, the works. "She's a good girl." I smiled and agreed, pushing down the small voice that whispered, "She's never cooked like this before. When did she learn?" The second week, small things started changing. Jasmine began joining James for his morning coffee before I woke up. She'd dress in fitted workout clothes and ask if she could join him for his morning run. She started watching the soccer matches with him, suddenly knowing all about Manchester United and Arsenal, teams I'd never heard her mention before. "I didn't know you liked football," I said one Saturday afternoon as she screamed at the TV, wearing a jersey that matched James's. "Oh, yeah," she laughed, not taking her eyes off the screen. "My ex got me into it. It's actually really fun once you understand the strategy." James beamed at her like she'd solved world hunger. I felt something cold settle in my chest. By week 3, I started noticing the way she looked at my husband. Not the way a niece looks at an uncle. The way a woman looks at a man she wants. Long glances when she thought I wasn't watching. Touches that lasted too long. A hand on his shoulder, fingers brushing his when she passed him the salt, leaning close to show him something on her phone. I told myself I was being paranoid, insecure. She was young enough to be his daughter, for God's sake. James would never. But then I walked into the kitchen one morning and found her standing at the stove in one of my silk robes. The short one, the one that barely covered anything, making James breakfast while he sat at the table in his pajamas, laughing at something on her phone. "Morning, babe," James said when he saw me, but his eyes had a guilty flash. "Morning, Auntie." Jasmine turned around, and the robe gaped open just enough to show she was wearing a lace camisole underneath. Nothing inappropriate. Nothing I could call out without sounding crazy. "I hope you don't mind I borrowed your robe. I couldn't find mine." She had 6 suitcases, but she couldn't find her robe. "Next time ask first," I said, keeping my voice level. "Oh my gosh, of course, I'm so sorry." She looked genuinely apologetic, and I felt like the villain. That night, I tried to talk to James about it. "Don't you think Jasmine is getting a little too comfortable?" He looked up from his book, confused. "What do you mean?" "I mean wearing my clothes, spending so much time with you, the way she—" I stopped, not sure how to put it into words that wouldn't sound insane. "Victoria," he set his book down and took my hand. "She's your niece. She's a kid who's going through a hard time. We're helping family. That's what we do." "She's not a kid, James. She's 24. "You know what I mean." He kissed my forehead. "I think you're stressed. Maybe you should plan a spa day or something. Jasmine could go with you. It might help you two bond." I wanted to scream that we didn't need to bond, that something was wrong, that he needed to see what I was seeing. But I didn't, because I had no proof, just a feeling. And feelings, I'd learned in 23 years of marriage, weren't enough. The incident that should have ended everything happened on a Wednesday afternoon. I came home early from my shift at the hospital. I'm a nurse, and we'd had a staffing surplus that day, and found Jasmine lying on the couch in the living room, talking on the phone. Nothing unusual, except I heard my name. "Girl, I'm telling you, this is going to be easier than I thought." She laughed, low and cruel. "Victoria is so trusting, it's almost sad. She literally doesn't suspect a thing." I froze in the doorway, hidden from view. James is already eating out of my hand. Men are so predictable. You give them attention, laugh at their jokes, show a little skin, and suddenly their wife of 20+ years might as well be furniture. Another laugh. "No, I'm not worried about her. What's she going to do? She's too nice, too proper, too worried about what people will think." My heart was pounding so hard, I thought it might break through my chest. "Look, I've got to go. I hear a car." "Yeah, probably her. I'll call you tonight after she goes to bed and James and I have our bonding time." She made a kissing sound. "Wish me luck." I should have confronted her right then. Should have thrown her out, called my sister, ended this nightmare before it went any further. But I didn't. Because I still couldn't believe it. My niece. The girl I'd held as a baby, taught to braid hair, taken shopping for her prom dress. She couldn't really be doing this. So I made noise, pretended I'd just arrived, walked in with a bright smile. "Hey, Jasmine, you're home." She turned to me with that perfect smile, that innocent face. "Auntie, I didn't know you'd be back so early. How was work?" And I played along. God help me, I played along. That night, I created a fake Facebook account. I know, it sounds crazy, like something from a bad movie. But I needed to know if what I'd heard was real or if stress was making me paranoid. I sent Jasmine a friend request from this account, pretending to be a young woman around her age who just moved to the area. She accepted within minutes. What I found on her page made me physically ill. Photos of her in my house, in my kitchen, with captions like "living my best life" and "upgrade complete" winking face. Photos of her and James, innocent enough on the surface, but the captions told a different story. One photo of them laughing over morning coffee. "When he gets you better than his wife does 2 hearts." Another of her in the robe, wearing her clothes in her house with her man. "Don't worry, she's at work smiling face with horns." A selfie in my bedroom mirror. "Countdown to moving into the master bedroom starts now." The comments from her friends were even worse. "Girl, you're wild," face with tears of joy. "Does she really not know?" "Get your man, sis." "Homewrecker energy 100 points." "Age is just a number, get that security." I sat in my bathroom, shaking, reading through months of posts that chronicled my niece's deliberate, calculated plan to seduce my husband and take over my life. She'd been planning this long before she moved in. The roommate drama was fake. She'd left her apartment voluntarily, told her mother some lie that would get Pamela to call me, knowing I'd never say no to family. Every kind gesture, every helpful act, every moment of gratitude had been an act. And I'd fallen for all of it. I thought about confronting James with the evidence. But what if he didn't believe me? What if he thought I'd fabricated it out of jealousy? What if showing him actually pushed him toward her, made him see me as the crazy, controlling wife and her as the young, carefree alternative? No, I needed a different approach. I needed to be smart. Over the next 2 weeks, I became someone I didn't recognize. Someone calculating, someone cold. I installed a nanny cam in the living room, hidden in a decorative plant. I told James and Jasmine it was for security after there had been break-ins in the neighborhood, completely made up, but they believed it. What I caught on camera made me want to set my house on fire. The moment my car pulled out of the driveway each morning, Jasmine transformed. The helpful, grateful niece disappeared, replaced by someone who moved through my house like she already owned it. She'd go through my closet, trying on my clothes, my jewelry, taking selfies and my things. She'd lie in my bed, spray my perfume, sit at my vanity. But worse than that was how she was with James. She'd wait until she heard his shower turn off, then position herself in the hallway in a towel, pretending she was just heading to shower herself. She'd accidentally drop things when he was nearby, bending over slowly to pick them up. She'd ask him for help with things she clearly didn't need help with, opening jars, reaching high shelves, fixing her laptop. And James, God, James. He wasn't actively pursuing her, but he wasn't shutting it down either. He was enjoying the attention, laughing more, smiling more, standing a little too close, letting his eyes linger a little too long. My husband of 23 years was being seduced, and he was letting it happen. The breaking point came on a Friday night. I told them I was working a double shift, but I'd actually traded shifts with a colleague. I came home at 10 p.m. and parked down the street, approaching the house quietly. Through the living room window, I saw them on the couch, too close, her hand on his thigh, his arm around her shoulders. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but I watched her lean in, watched her lips move close to his ear, watched him laugh and pull her closer. Then she kissed him. Not on the cheek, on the mouth. And for 3 heartbeats, I counted, he kissed her back. Then he pulled away, stood up, ran his hands through his hair. I saw his mouth form the words, "This is wrong." Jasmine stood too, pressed herself against him, and I watched my husband, the man who'd vowed before God and our families to forsake all others, hesitate. He didn't push her away immediately. He didn't step back. He stood there, torn, while my niece offered herself to him in our living room, in our house, under our roof. Finally, he stepped back, shook his head, and left the room. Jasmine stood there smiling, not upset, not rejected. Triumphant. Because she knew she'd cracked him. It was only a matter of time. I sat in my car and cried until I couldn't breathe. Then I dried my eyes, fixed my makeup, and drove around the block before pulling into the driveway like I'd just arrived. When I walked in, Jasmine was in her room. James was in his study, looking guilty and troubled. "Hey, honey," I said, kissing his cheek. "How was your evening?" "Fine," he said, not meeting my eyes. "Quiet, just watched some TV with Jasmine." A lie, the first direct lie he'd ever told me. And that's when I knew. This wasn't just about Jasmine anymore. This was about my marriage, my dignity, and whether I was going to let two people steal everything I'd built. I went to bed that night with a plan forming in my mind. If Jasmine wanted to play games, I'd show her what a real woman could do. I spent the entire weekend being the perfect wife and aunt. I cooked James's favorite meals. I laughed at his jokes. I asked Jasmine about her job search with genuine interest. I suggested we all go to church together on Sunday. Both of them looked confused by my good mood, but they went along with it. On Monday, I called my sister. "Pamela, I need to talk to you about Jasmine." "Oh no, is she being too much? I told her to help out around the house. Is she not pulling her weight? I can talk to her." No. Actually, she's been wonderful, too wonderful actually, which is why I'm worried." Silence on the other end. "I think she might be going through something," I continued carefully. "She's been acting strange, secretive. I've noticed some concerning things on her social media. I'm worried she might be involved in something. Not good." "What do you mean? Like drugs?" "I'm not sure. Maybe. Or maybe she's gotten mixed up with the wrong people. I don't want to alarm you, but I think she needs professional help. Maybe therapy. And probably not while she's staying with us. It might be too much pressure on her." I hated manipulating my sister like this, but Pamela needed to get her daughter out of my house before I did something I'd regret. I had no idea. She seems so happy whenever we talk. "That's what worries me. I think she's hiding something big. Look, why don't you come visit this weekend? See for yourself, stay with us. We can all talk together." Pamela agreed immediately. Phase 1 complete. Next, I went to see a lawyer. Not a divorce lawyer, not yet. A family lawyer who specialized in property and tenant rights. "My niece has been staying with us," I explained. "At first it was supposed to be temporary, but now she's been here for 2 months and showing no signs of leaving. If I want her out, what are my rights?" The lawyer explained that because Jasmine wasn't paying rent and hadn't signed any agreement, she was technically a guest, not a tenant. I could ask her to leave at any time, and if she refused, I could call the police to remove her for trespassing. "However," he added, "these situations can get messy, especially with family. Do you have any documented reason for the eviction? Any evidence of wrongdoing?" I smiled. "I'm working on that." I spent the next few days copying every screenshot from Jasmine's social media, downloading the nanny cam footage, and documenting every incident in a detailed journal with dates and times. But I needed more. I needed something that would make James see who she really was, something that would make him disgusted with himself for ever entertaining her advances. So I set a trap. On Thursday, I told James and Jasmine that I'd been asked to work an overnight shift on Friday, covering for a colleague who'd had a family emergency. "I hate leaving you two alone all night," I said, watching their faces carefully. James looked uncomfortable. Jasmine looked delighted. "We'll be fine, Auntie," Jasmine said quickly. "James and I can order pizza, watch a movie. Don't worry about us." "Maybe I should stay home," James said. "I don't feel right." "Don't be silly," Jasmine interrupted. "We're adults. What's going to happen? Besides, Auntie needs to help her colleague, that's more important. I watched them go back and forth, watched Jasmine work on him, and finally James agreed I should go. Perfect. On Friday evening, I packed a bag, kissed James goodbye, hugged Jasmine, and drove away. I parked 3 blocks over and walked back, letting myself in through the back door we rarely used, the one that didn't squeak. I'd positioned cameras in the living room, the hallway, and, God forgive me, one in our bedroom, hidden in the smoke detector. Then I settled into our basement storage room with my laptop and watched. For the first hour, nothing happened. They ordered pizza, watched TV on opposite ends of the couch. But then Jasmine got up to change into something more comfortable, and came back wearing shorts that barely covered anything and a tank top with no bra. James's eyes widened, and I watched him physically turn away. Jasmine, maybe you should put on more clothes. Why? We're just hanging out, I'm comfortable. You don't mind, do you? She sat next to him, closer than before. I think I should go to bed, James said, standing up. Already, it's only 9:30. She stood too, positioned herself in front of him. Come on, James. When's the last time you had fun? When's the last time you felt young? I'm married to your aunt. So, she doesn't have to know, she's working all night, and honestly, Jasmine moved closer, put her hand on his chest. Do you really think she satisfies you, a woman her age, when you could have someone like me? I was gripping my laptop, so hard my knuckles turned white. James took her hand off his chest. You need to stop this, now. Or what? Jasmine's voice turned hard, cold. You'll tell Victoria, please. She already suspects and she's done nothing, because she knows she can't compete. She's old, James, used up. Why do you think your kids never visit? They're embarrassed by her. That was a lie. Our children visited regularly, but it hit James like a physical blow. Don't talk about my wife like that. Why not? It's true. But I see you, James. I see how hard you work, how much you sacrifice. You deserve better. You deserve someone who makes you feel alive again. She pressed against him, and I watched my husband's resolve crumble. His hands came up, to push her away, I thought, but they hovered at her waist, uncertain. We can't, he whispered, but his voice lacked conviction. We can, we should. Just one night, James. Let me show you what you've been missing. And then she kissed him again. This time, he didn't pull away after 3 seconds. This time, his hands tightened on her waist, pulled her closer. This time, he kissed her back like he meant it. I watched my marriage of 23 years crack apart in real time, watched my husband betray every vow he'd ever made, watched my niece destroy my family with a smile on her face. I watched until they started moving toward the stairs, toward our bedroom. And then I walked upstairs from the basement and cleared my throat. They jumped apart like teenagers caught by parents. James went pale, Jasmine went red. Victoria, I thought you were at work, James stammered. Clearly, my voice was ice. Jasmine recovered faster. Auntie, this isn't what it looks like, James was just. Don't, I held up my hand. Don't insult my intelligence more than you already have. I turned to James. Pack a bag, get out of this house, now. Victoria, please let me explain. Explain what? I screamed, and both of them flinched. Explain how you were about to sleep with my niece. Explain how you've been emotionally cheating on me for weeks. Explain how you kissed her. Explain how you were about to take her to our bed. Tears streamed down my face, but my voice stayed steady. I have been nothing but a faithful, loving wife to you for 23 years. I gave you 3 beautiful children. I supported your career, your dreams, your every ambition. And the moment a young girl shows you attention, you throw it all away. I wasn't going to, we weren't. I have it on camera, James, all of it, every moment, every touch, every kiss, so don't you dare lie to me. His face crumbled. I turned to Jasmine, who was still standing there in her barely there outfit, arms crossed defensively. And you poisonous, manipulative little snake, I opened my home to you, I treated you like a daughter, and this is how you repay me. He wanted this too, Jasmine shot back, dropping the innocent act entirely. You think you're so perfect, so untouchable, but your husband was bored with you. He wanted someone exciting, someone young. Someone desperate, I interrupted. Someone so empty inside that the only way she can feel valuable is by stealing someone else's life. I walked closer to her, and she actually stepped back. You will never have what I have, Jasmine, because it's not about age or looks or how well you can cook jerk chicken. It's about character, integrity, self-respect, things you clearly lack. You're just jealous because. I want you out of my house in 1 hour. Take what you can carry. The rest will be donated to charity. You can't kick me out. I have rights. I pulled out my phone and called 911, put it on speaker. 911, what's your emergency? I have an intruder in my home who refuses to leave. Jasmine's eyes went wide. You wouldn't. I already called my lawyer. You have no legal right to be here. You're a guest who has overstayed her welcome and is now trespassing. The officers will remove you if necessary. The 911 operator said officers were on their way. I hung up. 59 minutes, Jasmine. She looked at James, expecting him to defend her. He wouldn't meet her eyes. You're pathetic, she spat at both of us, then stormed upstairs. James and I stood in silence until we heard her slamming drawers, throwing things. Victoria, I am so sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. I never meant for any of this. Save it, I said quietly. I don't want to hear your excuses tonight. I just want you gone. Where am I supposed to go? I truly don't care. A hotel, your brother's house, hell for all I care, just get out of my sight. He looked at me with tears in his eyes, and for a moment I almost softened. Almost. Then I remembered him kissing her, touching her, about to betray 23 years of marriage in our bed. You have 30 minutes, I said. Then I'm changing the locks. The police arrived 20 minutes later. By then, Jasmine had packed 2 suitcases and was standing in the foyer, makeup running down her face, playing the victim. Officers, thank God you're here. My aunt is having some kind of breakdown. She's kicking me out over nothing, making up crazy accusations. Ma'am, one of the officers interrupted, is this your residence? Well, no, but I've been staying here for 2 months. I have rights. The officer turned to me. Is this your home, ma'am? Yes, officer. My name is on the deed. I am the sole owner. I'd made sure of that years ago, kept the house in my name only as protection. This is my niece. She was a guest in my home. I am now asking her to leave, and she is refusing. Do you have any documentation of tenancy? The officer asked Jasmine. A lease, rental agreement, proof of payment. No, but... Then you're a guest, and the homeowner has the right to ask you to leave. You need to collect your belongings and vacate the premises. This is insane. She can't just throw me out on the street. She can, actually. If you refuse to leave, we'll have to escort you out and you could be charged with trespassing. Jasmine looked at me with pure hatred. I hope you're happy, Auntie Victoria. You're ruining my life over a little harmless flirtation. You're so insecure you can't even handle your husband talking to another woman. Miss, I suggest you stop talking and start packing, the second officer said. You're not helping your case. James appeared on the stairs with his own suitcase, looking broken. Jasmine, just go, he said quietly. This is all my fault. I should have shut it down from the beginning. I'm sorry. She turned on him like a rabid dog. Oh, so now you're sorry? You were just about to fuck me 10 minutes ago, but now you're sorry. Even the police officers looked uncomfortable. Ma'am, that's enough, the first officer said firmly. Get your things and leave, now. It took another 15 minutes of drama, tears and threats before Jasmine finally left, dragged out her suitcases, and got into an Uber the officers waited for. As the car pulled away, she rolled down the window and screamed, You'll regret this, both of you. I'm going to tell everyone what you did. I'm going to ruin you. The officers asked if I wanted to file a restraining order. I said I'd think about it. After they left, James and I stood in the driveway. Victoria, please, let me stay. Let me fix this. There's nothing to fix tonight, James. I need you to leave so I can think. For how long? I don't know, maybe a few days. Maybe forever, I honestly don't know. He got in his car, and I watched him drive away. Then I went inside my house, locked every door, and finally, let myself fall apart. I sobbed on my kitchen floor for 2 hours, screamed into pillows, threw a plate against the wall and watched it shatter, wishing my pain could break that easily. Eventually, I dragged myself to bed and stared at the ceiling until dawn. Jasmine made good on her threat. By Saturday morning, she'd posted a lengthy rant on Facebook about how I was an abusive, controlling aunt who'd kicked her out for no reason, and how James was a victim of my manipulation and jealousy. The post was filled with lies about me hitting her, screaming at her, accusing her of things she didn't do. She painted herself as an innocent victim, a girl just trying to get back on her feet who was destroyed by her cruel aunt. And people believed her. I watched the comments roll in. Her friends, people who didn't even know me, calling me every name in the book. Even some of our church members commented things like, "Praying for you, sweetie, and you deserve better." Then she went nuclear. She posted the photos from my bedroom, the ones she'd taken in my robe, at my vanity, but with new captions that told a completely different story. My aunt made me wear her clothes and parade around for her husband, one caption read. She forced me to cook and clean like a servant. Another photo, one of her and James laughing. She would make me entertain her husband to keep him happy, then accused me of seduction. This woman is sick. I felt physically ill reading the lies. But I didn't respond, not yet. Instead, I called my children. Michael, Patricia, and Robert all flew home that weekend. When I showed them everything, the videos, the screenshots, the real timeline, they were horrified. "Mom, we need to expose her," Michael said. He was already thinking like the lawyer he'd soon become. "We have evidence. We can prove she's lying." "I don't want to put this on social media," I said. "I don't want our family business out there like that." "But she's destroying your reputation." "Let her. The people who matter know the truth. The people who believe her without asking my side aren't worth my energy." Patricia hugged me tight. "I'm so proud of you, Mom, for standing up for yourself, for not letting her win." "What about Dad?" Robert asked quietly. "Are you going to divorce him?" I hadn't let myself think that far ahead. "I don't know, baby. I don't know." James had been staying at his brother's house, calling me every day, begging for a chance to explain, to apologize, to fix what he'd broken. I finally agreed to meet him on Tuesday at a coffee shop, neutral ground. He looked terrible, unshaven, bags under his eyes, wearing the same clothes from 3 days ago. "Victoria, I am so sorry." I didn't respond. "I know sorry isn't enough. I know I betrayed you in the worst possible way. I don't have an excuse. I was flattered by her attention. I was weak. I let my ego destroy 23 years of marriage to the woman I love." "You don't love me," I said quietly. "You love the idea of me, the convenience of me, but you don't respect me, because if you did, you never would have let it get that far." "I do love you. I do respect you." "You kissed her, James, multiple times. You were about to sleep with her, in our bed, in our home, while I was supposedly at work supporting our family like I always do." He was crying now. I know, and I hate myself for it. I've replayed that night 1,000 times. If you hadn't come home, I don't know if I would have stopped, and that makes me sick. At least he was being honest. "Here's what's going to happen," I said. "You're going to move into the guest house in the back, not the main house, the guest house. You're going to give me space. We're going to go to marriage counseling, and I'm going to decide whether this marriage is worth saving. Anything, I'll do anything. I'm also going to need you to cut off all contact with Jasmine. If she reaches out, you don't respond. If she shows up, you call me immediately. She is dead to both of us." "Of course, absolutely." "And James, if you ever, and I mean ever, betray my trust again, I will take everything you have. Our house is in my name. I have documentation of everything. I will make sure you leave this marriage with nothing but the shame you deserve. Do you understand me?" He nodded, looking terrified. Good, he should be terrified. We started counseling the following week. It was brutal. The therapist didn't let James hide behind excuses or minimize what he'd done. She made him confront every decision, every moment he'd chosen his ego over his marriage. And she made me confront something too. I'd ignored red flags because I didn't want to be that wife. The jealous one. The insecure one. I'd prioritized being cool and understanding over protecting my marriage. Boundaries aren't insecurity, the therapist said. They're self-respect. I was learning that lesson the hard way. While James and I were trying to rebuild, Jasmine was spiraling. After I'd kicked her out, she'd gone back to her mother's apartment. Pamela called me 2 days later, apologetic and horrified. "Victoria, I am so sorry. I had no idea what she was planning. I confronted her about everything and she admitted it. She actually bragged about it, said you were too old for James anyway, that she was doing him a favor." I wasn't surprised. "She's not welcome in my home ever again, Pamela. I love you, but I can't have her in my life." I understand. Honestly, I don't even know who she is anymore. The daughter I raised wouldn't do something like this. But that's the thing about manipulation. It's learned. And I'd started to piece together where Jasmine had learned it. Her father, Pamela's ex-husband, had been a serial cheater who destroyed their marriage by sleeping with Pamela's best friend. He'd gaslit Pamela for years, made her feel crazy for suspecting him, then left her for a woman half his age. Jasmine had watched her father manipulate, lie, and betray her mother, and she'd learned that this was how you got what you wanted. You took it from someone who trusted you. It didn't excuse what she'd done, but it explained it. Meanwhile, Jasmine's lies on social media were catching up to her. Someone I never found out who had sent screenshots of her real posts, the ones where she'd bragged about seducing James, to several of her friends. Her story started to unravel. People began questioning her version of events, asking for proof, calling out inconsistencies. Then one of my church members who was friends with Jasmine's friend commented on one of her posts. "Funny how you told Lisa last month that you were going to seduce your aunt's husband and upgrade your life. Now suddenly you're the victim. Girl, bye." The post went viral in our community. Jasmine's support evaporated overnight. People who defended her felt betrayed and angry. The comments turned against her. She tried to delete everything, but people had taken screenshots. Her lies were immortalized. Then she made her biggest mistake. She tried to contact James at his office, claiming she was pregnant with his child. James immediately called me, panicked. We went together to confront her at a coffee shop she'd suggested for a private meeting. She showed up with a printout of a positive pregnancy test. "I'm 8 weeks pregnant, James, with your baby. You're going to be a father again." I actually laughed. 8 weeks? You've only been in our house for 2 months, and you and James never slept together. We did, that night after Victoria left. I was there, Jasmine. I watched you on camera. You kissed him. You didn't sleep with him. I stopped you before anything else happened. Her face went red. "You're lying." "Am I?" I pulled out my phone and showed her a photo of the video timestamp. "This is you, 9:47 p.m. kissing James. This is me, 9:52 p.m. walking upstairs and interrupting. 5 minutes. That's how long you had." She grabbed for my phone, but I pulled it back. "You're also not pregnant," I continued. "Or if you are, it's not with James's baby. So whose is it, Jasmine? Who else were you sleeping with while you were plotting to steal my husband?" Her eyes darted around, looking for an escape. "I want a paternity test," James said firmly. "Right now, we'll go to the clinic together." "I'm not doing that." "Then you're lying, and if you continue to claim this baby is mine, I'll sue you for defamation and harassment. My wife is a witness that we never had sexual contact. We have video evidence. You'll lose." Jasmine stood up, knocking her chair over. "You're both going to regret this. You think you've won? You haven't. I'll find a way to destroy you both." She stormed out, leaving the fake pregnancy test on the table. I picked it up, looked at it closely. It was a screenshot from Google printed out, not even a real test. "She's desperate," I said. "She's dangerous," James replied. We filed a restraining order that afternoon. The restraining order was granted within a week. Jasmine was ordered to stay at least 100 yards away from both of us, our home, and our workplaces. She violated it within 3 days. She showed up at my hospital, claiming to be a patient, and tried to confront me in the hallway. Security removed her, and she was arrested for violating the restraining order. She spent a night in jail. When she got out, she went back to social media, posting even more lies about me having her falsely arrested and weaponizing the police against a young black woman. But by this point, nobody believed her anymore. The comments were brutal. "Girl, you need help. You brought this on yourself. Maybe focus on fixing yourself instead of playing victim. This is embarrassing." Then I got a call from my lawyer, the same family lawyer I'd consulted about getting Jasmine out of my house. "Mrs. Isaac, I think you should know that Jasmine has been making claims about you online that constitute defamation. You could potentially sue her." I'd thought about it, but what would I gain? She had no money, no assets. I'd win the case and get nothing but more drama. "What if," the lawyer continued, "we approached this differently? She's made specific claims about you that are provably false and have damaged your reputation. We could send her a cease and desist letter, threatening legal action unless she publicly retracts her statements and issues an apology." That got my attention. "She'll never apologize. Then we sue, and we make it public. Every lie she told, every manipulation, every false claim, it all comes out in court documents that become public record. Her name will be permanently associated with this behavior." The thought of exposing her completely, of making sure that anyone who Googled her name would see exactly who she was tempting. But it also felt beneath me. "Let me think about it," I said. That night I talked to my children about it. They were split. Michael thought I should sue. "Make an example of her, Mom. Show her that actions have consequences." Patricia was less sure. "Will it actually make you feel better, or will it just drag this out longer?" Robert had a different perspective. "What if we use this as leverage for something else?" "Like what?" "Like making sure she gets help, real help, therapy, treatment for whatever's broken inside her that makes her think this behavior is okay." I sat with that thought for a while. Jasmine had hurt me deeply. She'd tried to destroy my marriage, my reputation, my peace. Part of me wanted her to suffer the way she'd made me suffer. But another part of me, the part that had raised her, loved her, believed in her, wanted her to get better, to heal, to become someone who didn't hurt people. I called my lawyer back. "Send the cease and desist, but add a condition. She has to complete 6 months of therapy with a licensed professional. If she does, I won't pursue legal action. If she doesn't, we go to court with everything." The lawyer drew up the letter. It was delivered to Jasmine at her mother's apartment. I didn't hear anything for 3 days. Then Pamela called. "She's agreed to the therapy," my sister said quietly. "She's scared, Victoria. She knows she messed up badly. She knows she could have legal problems. I think this might actually help her." "I hope so," I said, "for everyone's sake." But I also knew that some people don't change. Some people just get better at hiding who they really are. Time would tell which one Jasmine was. 6 months after I'd kicked Jasmine out, James moved back into the main house. It wasn't a fairy tale reconciliation. There was no dramatic moment where I suddenly forgave everything and we lived happily ever after. It was slow, painful, built on difficult conversations and rebuilt trust. James had done the work. He'd gone to individual therapy in addition to our couple's counseling. He'd examined why he'd been vulnerable to Jasmine's manipulation, confronted his ego and his need for validation, and put in place boundaries to protect our marriage. He'd cut off a friendship with a coworker who'd encouraged his relationship with Jasmine, saying things like, A little harmless flirting never hurt anyone. He'd become transparent with his phone, his schedule, his interactions with other women. He'd written me a letter, 12 pages long, detailing every moment he should have shut Jasmine down and didn't, taking full responsibility for his choices. And slowly, painfully, I'd started to forgive him. Not because he deserved it, but because I deserved peace. I'd learned something important through this whole nightmare. Forgiveness isn't about excusing what someone did. It's about releasing the hold their actions have on your heart. I was tired of being angry, tired of being hurt, tired of letting Jasmine and James's betrayal control my life. So I chose to forgive, but I didn't choose to forget. The trust was still broken. It would take years to fully rebuild, if it ever fully rebuilt at all. But we were trying. As for Jasmine, I heard through Pamela that she'd actually stuck with therapy. Her therapist had diagnosed her with several issues: narcissistic personality traits, abandonment issues from her father, a pattern of manipulative behavior she'd learned as a survival mechanism. She was working on it, slowly. She'd also gotten a job, a real one, and moved into her own apartment. She was building a life that didn't involve stealing someone else's. Pamela asked several times if I'd be willing to see Jasmine, to hear her apology. I said no, I wasn't ready. Maybe I'd never be ready. And that was okay. Some bridges, once burned, aren't meant to be rebuilt. 8 months after everything imploded, I was grocery shopping when I ran into Jasmine. She was in the produce section, looking at apples, and she didn't see me at first. I could have turned around, could have avoided the confrontation entirely. But I didn't. I walked right up to her. "Hello, Jasmine." She jumped, dropped an apple, and went pale. "Auntie Victoria, I didn't expect to see you." Clearly. We stood there in awkward silence, while shoppers moved around us. "I've been wanting to talk to you," she said finally, "to apologize for everything." "I'm listening." She took a deep breath. "What I did was unforgivable. I was selfish, manipulative, and cruel. I tried to destroy your marriage because I was broken inside and I thought taking what you had would fix me. It didn't. It just made everything worse." I didn't respond. I've been in therapy, working on myself, trying to understand why I did what I did. And I realize now that I was trying to recreate my father's betrayal of my mother, but this time I wanted to be the winner. The one who got chosen, the one who wasn't abandoned. It was the most self-aware thing I'd ever heard her say. "That doesn't excuse it," she continued. "Nothing excuses it. I hurt you. I disrespected your marriage. I violated your trust. I lied about you to make myself look better. I was terrible." "Yes," I said simply, "you were." She looked like she might cry. "I don't expect you to forgive me. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry, truly, deeply sorry, and that I'm trying to be better." I studied her face, looking for signs of manipulation, for the act. But all I saw was a broken young woman trying to piece herself back together. "I hope therapy helps you," I said finally. "I hope you figure out how to be the kind of person who builds her own life instead of trying to steal someone else's." "I'm trying." "Good." I started to walk away, then turned back. "Jasmine." "Yes." "What you did almost destroyed me. My marriage, my family, my sense of safety in my own home. It broke something inside me that will never fully heal. So when I say I can't forgive you, I need you to understand that it's not because I'm cruel or unforgiving. It's because some things are unforgivable." Tears ran down her face. "I understand." "But," I continued, "I don't hate you. I don't wish bad things for you. I hope you heal. I hope you grow. I hope you become someone your future children can be proud of. Just somewhere far away from me and my family." She nodded, unable to speak. I walked away and didn't look back. Later that night, I told James about the encounter. "How do you feel?" he asked. "Lighter," I said, surprising myself. Like I finally got to say everything I needed to say. "Do you think she meant it? The apology?" I think she's starting to understand what she did, whether she truly changes or just gets better at hiding who she is. That's not my problem anymore. James pulled me close. I'm proud of you for handling this with so much grace. Grace, I laughed bitterly. I had her arrested, James. I threatened to sue her. I kicked her out of our house with police escort. You protected yourself. You set boundaries. You refused to be a victim. That's not cruelty, that's strength. Maybe he was right. Maybe standing up for yourself, fighting back, refusing to accept betrayal with silence, maybe that was its own kind of grace. A year after everything happened, James and I renewed our vows. Not a big ceremony, just us, our children, our closest friends, and our pastor in our backyard. We rewrote the vows ourselves. They were different this time, more honest, less about the fairy tale and more about the reality of choosing each other every day, even when it's hard. I promise to be worthy of your trust, James said, tears in his eyes. To protect our marriage the way I should have from the beginning, to never take your love for granted, to spend the rest of my life proving that your decision to give me another chance wasn't a mistake. My turn. I promise to speak up when something feels wrong, even if it makes me uncomfortable, to prioritize our marriage over being cool or understanding, to remember that boundaries aren't walls, they're bridges to deeper intimacy, to forgive but never forget the lessons we've learned. Our children stood with us, Patricia and Robert on my side, Michael on James's side. Do you, Victoria and James, commit to this marriage, not as it was, but as it can be, to building something stronger from broken pieces? We do, we said together. Afterward, Patricia pulled me aside. Mom, I'm proud of you. You could have walked away. Nobody would have blamed you. I thought about it, I admitted, every day for months, but leaving felt like letting Jasmine win, like letting her destroy what I'd built. You took your power back, Robert added, joining us. That's what matters. Michael handed me a glass of wine. To my mother, the strongest woman I know, who taught me that forgiveness is powerful but boundaries are sacred. We clinked glasses. Later, I found myself alone in my bedroom, the same room where I'd almost lost everything, and I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. Not because everything was perfect. It wasn't. James and I still had hard days, days where trust felt fragile, days where I remembered him kissing her and wanted to scream. But we also had good days, days where we laughed together, days where I looked at him and remembered why I'd fallen in love with him in the first place. The difference was, I no longer took those days for granted. I'd learned that marriage isn't a safe haven. It's a garden that requires constant attention. The moment you stop tending it, weeds creep in. I'd learned that kindness without boundaries is just self-destruction in disguise. I'd learned that family isn't always blood. It's the people who respect you, protect you, and add value to your life. I'd learned that being nice had almost cost me everything, and that being strong required saying no, setting limits, and sometimes walking away. Most importantly, I'd learned that I was capable of surviving my worst nightmare and coming out the other side. 2 years after everything happened, I got a message on Facebook from an account I didn't recognize. It was Jasmine. Auntie Victoria, I know you probably don't want to hear from me, and I understand if you delete this without reading, but I wanted you to know that I'm engaged, to a good man who loves me for who I am, not who I'm pretending to be. Therapy helped me understand that I was acting out patterns I'd learned from my father, trying to prove my worth by taking what belonged to someone else. I'm still working on it every day. I still have a long way to go, but I'm better than I was. I just wanted to say thank you for holding me accountable when everyone else would have let it slide. You saved my life by refusing to enable my behavior. I hope you and Uncle James are well. I hope you've found peace. You deserved so much better than what I put you through. I read it 3 times. Then I showed it to James. What are you going to say? He asked. I don't know. I thought about it for a week. Finally, I replied. Jasmine, I'm glad you're doing better. I'm glad you found someone who values you. I hope you treat him with the respect you didn't show my marriage. As for forgiveness, I'm still working on that. Maybe someday, but not today. I wish you well in your journey. Just take it somewhere that doesn't include me. She didn't respond, and I didn't expect her to. Some stories don't get neat endings. Some relationships stay broken. Some people remain in your past where they belong. And that's okay. As for me and James, we're still here, still married, still working on it every single day. We're not perfect. We're not even close to perfect. But we're honest. We're committed. And we've built something new from the ashes of what almost burned down. Our children are thriving. Michael is a practicing attorney now, helping people navigate family law. He says watching our marriage almost fall apart inspired him to help others protect theirs. Patricia is an engineer designing safety systems. She jokes that our family drama taught her the importance of fail-safes. Robert is in his residency, specializing in psychiatry. He says Jasmine's behavior fascinated him and made him want to understand the human mind. Pamela and I have repaired our relationship. It took time, and it's different than it was, but we're sisters again. We talk on the phone every week. She's proud of Jasmine's progress but respects my boundaries about not being part of Jasmine's life. And me, I'm still a nurse, still helping people, still building the life I almost lost. But I'm different now. Stronger, wiser, less willing to sacrifice my peace for someone else's comfort. I've learned that sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes you need respect, honesty, and shared values. I've learned that the people who truly love you won't make you beg for basic decency. I've learned that protecting yourself isn't selfish, it's survival. And I've learned that taking everything away from someone who tried to destroy you isn't revenge. It's justice. If you're watching this and nodding along, if any part of my story feels familiar, if you've ever ignored red flags because you didn't want to seem jealous or crazy or difficult, listen to me. Trust your instincts. Your gut knows things your brain hasn't figured out yet. When something feels wrong, it usually is. Don't wait until someone has destroyed your peace to decide what you won't tolerate. Set those limits early and enforce them consistently. Being understanding doesn't mean being a doormat. You can be compassionate and still protect yourself. Just because someone is related to you doesn't mean they get a free pass to disrespect you, hurt you, or destroy what you've built. I cannot stress this enough. When someone is manipulating you or lying about you, evidence is your best defense. Cameras, screenshots, journals with dates and times, gather it all. Both partners need to actively protect it. It's not paranoid to check in, to ask questions, to address concerns before they become crises. You can forgive someone and still maintain boundaries. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It means releasing the hold their actions have on your heart. I promise you, you can survive things you never thought you could. You can rebuild. You can heal. You can take your life back. It's protection. It's consequences. It's teaching them that their actions have weight. And finally, you deserve peace. You deserve a home that feels safe, a marriage that feels solid, relationships that add value instead of creating chaos. Don't settle for less. Don't sacrifice yourself on the altar of being nice or understanding or not that kind of person. Be the kind of person who protects what matters. Be the kind of person who fights back. Be the kind of person who survives. My name is Victoria Isaac. My niece tried to destroy my marriage, so I took everything away from her. And I'd do it again. If this story touched you, if it taught you something, if it reminded you that you're stronger than whatever you're facing right now, I need you to do something for me. Subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell, and comment below telling me where you're watching from and what lesson resonated with you most. Because here's the truth. Every time you subscribe, you're standing up for women who refuse to be victims. You're supporting stories that tell the truth about betrayal, boundaries, and coming back stronger. You're saying that it matters, that we matter. So don't just watch and leave. Be part of this community. Stand with me. Stand with every woman who's ever had to fight for her peace. Subscribe, comment, Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, you are worthy of respect, honesty, and a life free from manipulation. Don't ever forget that. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next story. The end.